She said he asked her, "What the F have you done?" He said, "You were all over the other men at dinner, they are all going to know we're having an affair. I should have just left you there, you made a big scene as we were leaving. Mr. Robert Smith told her he let her into his world and trusted her, but she just treated it like a high school formal, person 17 said. Ben Robert Smith at the Canberra function, where the alleged incident happened. Person 17 said she apologized and told him she knew she had behaved badly at the function, and that she was drunk, and pleaded with him to forget about the incident and go to bed, because her head was hurting. She said Mr. Robert Smith replied that it's going to effing hurt more, or I'll show you hurt, before he punched her with his right fist on the left side of her face and eye. Person 17 told the court that the pair had sex later in the evening and Mr. Robert Smith held her and told her, "It's going to be okay. I was just apologizing to him and saying I loved him and how sorry I was." She said Mr. Robert Smith woke her early the next morning and had packed her bags and laid out clothes for her. He also showed her photos on his phone of her naked and asleep in bed, person 17 said, and asked her, "Do I need to keep these photos?" Person 17 said she didn't say anything. Mr. Robert Smith replied last year with a firm no, and that's disgusting, when asked by the newspaper's barrister, Nicholas Owens, SC, if he took a photo of person 17, as she lay naked and asleep in their hotel bed. Loading, "I've never done anything like that, and never would," Mr. Robert Smith said, and rejected a further allegation that he took the photos to have something to hold over person 17. He also denied punching person 17, and has told the court he tended to her injury after she fell down the stairs while drunk. Person 17 told the court that the affair ended in April 2018 after they met one last time. At that meeting, Mr. Robert Smith had told her she was like crack, and he would find it hard to give her up, she said. She shared that sentiment, she said, because even after everything that had happened, our relationship had become a bit like an addiction, and we couldn't stop. But person 17 said Mr. Robert Smith also told her that they needed to be on the same page, and he warned her that if she did anything stupid, he would burn your house down. She might not get hurt, person 17 said Mr. Robert Smith told her, but people she loved and cared about might. He showed her photos of her diary and her bank cards that he had taken at the hotel, she said. Earlier on Tuesday, person 17 told the court she discovered she was pregnant in February 2018 and knew it was Mr. Robert Smith's child, as I hadn't slept with anyone else apart from Ben. And in any case, my husband had had a vasectomy. She said the pair agreed she should terminate the pregnancy, but she started to have second thoughts about all of it, including whether she wanted to keep seeing Mr. Robert Smith, and whether she wanted to go ahead with the abortion because it's not something I really believe in personally. Person 17 said that Mr. Robert Smith became angry at her indecision and told her that, if I kept the baby, he would not stick around long term. She told the court she subsequently had a miscarriage, but let him believe, for a time in March 2018, that she was still having a termination, because the pair had been fighting and he hadn't returned some of her calls. And she wanted to tell him face to face. Person 17 agreed she initially told Mr. Robert Smith in person that she had had a termination in Townsville because, "I just knew that all he cared about was I wasn't pregnant anymore." But he told her he would get CCTV footage to check, and she admitted she had had a miscarriage. She said he also showed her footage taken of her outside a Brisbane hospital getting into a taxi. Person 17 said Mr. Robert Smith had forced her to take 2 pregnancy tests in front of him, the first of which was defective, but the second of which yielded a positive result. Mr. Robert Smith has told the court he hired a private investigator to follow person 17 to an abortion clinic in Brisbane because he believed she was lying about the pregnancy to get him to stay in the relationship. He said last year that person 17 had given him 3 stories about what happened to the alleged pregnancy. Person 17 told the court that Mr. Robert Smith told her at a dinner after their conversation about the miscarriage that he was a good friend to have, and not someone I would want to get on the wrong side of. He told me that if he wanted to he could get into my bank accounts, she said. Mr. Robert Smith told the court in June last year that he had separated with his now estranged wife, Emma, in late September 2017, and they had remained separated for about 6 months. "I've never disputed the fact that I've had an affair with person 17, he told the court last year, but he said they were separated at the time and there's a difference. But Emma Roberts told the court in February this year that the couple did not separate until January 2020, and she was unaware of the affair until person 17 appeared out of the blue at the matrimonial home on April 6, 2018. Person 17 said Emma Roberts' mother, who was also at the home, asked her what had happened to her face, which still had a black eye, and she told her she had fallen down the stairs.